right, getting ready to head to Chandler Airport. We're from Deer Valley. It's about 50 miles down there. It is 7:39 a.m. I got here about 5 minutes ago. What I typically bring is, I got a cooler with a Gatorade water. I got my bag, flight manual, knee board, headset, stuff like that. Water jug. There's 3 fuel sump points. In the front, there's one there. There's one there. The tail section, there's another fuel sump point. Right up on basic walk around. Looking at the propeller, making sure everything looks good. Last flight was smooth, but you know, you always want to check. It's impossible to see the alternator belt. And on an airplane that runs off the alternator, no magnetos, that's kind of a little wishy-washy, but you can pull the cowling off anytime and check it. I plan on doing an oil change in about 15 hours from now. I'll be able to take a look at that. Shocks look good. Prop looks good. The cowling looks good. Feels secure. Exhaust, no oil. Feels secure, and I cleaned out the drain plug. I do that about every couple of flights. The exhaust breather. Bush wheels are looking good. Appear to be at the right pressure. I do normally check them. I keep them around 10 pounds. Kind of a crazy pitot tube, but it's good. Looks good. Everything looks good here and secure. And again, you can see certain things you might not see otherwise. Well, that looks good. ADS-B unit. That's the transmitter, actually. I'm going to get a receiver, but that's the transmitter. Ailerons. Even and moving in the right direction. Cables look good and secure there with the fittings. You have one on top and you have one on the bottom. Everything else in the fuselage looks pretty good. All fabric. This whole thing's fabric except for the front, which is carbon fiber, and then aluminum for the struts here, and chrome moly tubing inside for the for the actual fuselage cage itself. Then you have the rudder. That looks good. Feels secure. This is a jack screw tail assembly, meaning the whole tail assembly moves for the trim. We have the gap seals, which I haven't flown it without, but I know with the Pitts, gap seals do make a difference as far as speed goes, and just a little less wind disruption, and those are cheap. So the cheapest thing in flying, they're just rubber pieces. Okay, these are the support lines. These are really important. So you want to look at the fittings. That should have a decent tension on it, and fittings come up to here, right? And every so often, I guess they probably adjust it. Show you underneath. There's also one underneath, a little hard to get to. You feel that for tension. That feels pretty good. You can't see the fitting on the other side, but you can see it there. You look at the tail wheel. Tail wheel feels nice and hard. It is an air-filled tail wheel. The springs on both sides appear to be secure and look in good shape. Tail wheel looks good. Definitely want that to stay in good shape. Rudder. This particular airplane flies very straight, hands off. So the aerodynamics and the rigging of this airplane as it sits right now flies really nice. So that's good to know, because there's a lot of factors in play, right? The rudder, the pitch, the whole thing. So that's pretty cool. Same thing over here, checking the fittings. Looking good. The rudder moves up and down freely. Same here underneath. Again, a little hard to get to, but you just reach under there and feel for tension. And the fitting there looks good. And we'll come around. This side of the elevator feels stable. This is hugely important, that the trim is set roughly into the takeoff position, and it is. I've had on 2 occasions. The first occasion I didn't understand it, second I did. When you're running up and just holding the stick, there's a tendency to hit the reverse trim, okay? And that will drive this thing way down, meaning you have almost no authority. It's almost full back elevator. I know how to test for that now in the front. I feel spring loading for about 2 to about 3 inches. And that way I don't have to wonder and I don't have to look. So I always triple check that before takeoff. This is the SS model. So this is, out of all the Carbon Cubs, the lightest, shortest takeoff edition of this airplane. There is a grab handle if you don't have a tow bar with you to move the airplane around. Call sign, everything here looks good. Flaps, I normally extend them and push them, but I've already done that, and they are secure and in place. You'll see inside it's actuated with a lever. It's all mechanical, except for the trim, that's electronic. Aileron on this side, moving free, good. Check the cable attachment, because that's pretty much all you got, you know. Pretty good cable there, and the attachments there as well. Walk around the ring tips, look underneath. Again, this is all dope and fabric. The wings are not wood, they're aluminum. The plane does have lights, not really a night flying airplane, has no panel lights, so I'd have to put a clip light, a red light, or wear one on my, you know, a battery powered red light on my hat. Wingtip feels secure, everything feels secure. All the strut attachments. Aileron, you want to check the cable here, because when you're actuating the aileron, this is actually rolling on the wheel. Matter of fact, let me see. When I push the aileron, okay, the wheel stays in position. That looks good. Okay. And it's routed up through here, as you can see. Bush wheels look good. The shocks look good. You do want to check the brakes, and they look good. Brake pads. Shouldn't have a ton of brake pad wear. Let me see. I'll have to get in there with a flashlight. Part of the reason for the trip to Chandler is to get a pint of brake fluid, because the purpose of this plane is to be so light. I don't know if you can see here. I'll have to show you later. The master cylinder right there is like a little lipstick container, if even that big, and you fill it up with a syringe. The one on the other side is down a little bit. This one is not even visible, so there's still fluid in the line. It still stops, it still does the brakes. We're ready to go. We'll go ahead and get things secured and get out there for a startup. Here's a knee board, so before I get in, throw that up there. I got the GoPro. Once I'm in, seat belted up, get the GoPro in position, get the headsets on, get the GoPro microphone wiring in place, and that pretty much secures all that. Headsets, kneeboard, GoPro, that's it for tech. The radios will be set. All my frequencies, well, after I leave Deer Valley for Chandler, are right here. I've dressed up the belts in the back. I've got my ballast bag in the back with chocks and oil. I've got my flight bag, and I've got the cooler back there, all secured with carabiners to the hooks, to the cargo hooks. And that is about that. There's my seatbelt. Shoulder harnesses up there. Seatbelts are down here. And that is it. So we're getting started. You want to move the throttle up a little bit to what you think is about the 1,000 RPM phase. Get your feet up on the brakes when you're ready to start. Tank is on both there, and visually checked the fuel. Everything walk around pre-flight has been complete. Phone is in position, knee board's in position, GPS is in position. So we're good on all that. Headset is in position. After I start up, I will turn on. So we're good to go for startup. So throttle's up. Mixture, you would normally go full rich. We got to figure that out. It likes to be back about, I call that 1.5 inches, not quite 2 inches. And we're going to do the primer. So it's got a detent and a lock. A little tricky to get out sometimes. 1, push it in. 2, push it in. And I do about 1/2 and then push it in. About 2.5. Carb heat, make sure that's smooth. Cabin heat, not going to use it today for sure, but just make sure it's smooth. Ignition key is in position. Phone is out of the way. This little clip mount. And then once we start, we'll grab ATIS, which is 126.5. And then we'll go over to the taxi area or warm-up area. Like 7-8 minutes, even on a day like today, to warm up. And then run up. And then we'll get out there and taxi for takeoff to Chandler. We're ready to start up. Hard to believe, actually. It's kind of surreal. It really is. All right. Master switch on. Strobe on. And then after startup, we'll go ahead and turn on the nav light. And what that does is it powers the ADS-B as well. And that'll be it. Master, strobe, nav light after startup, and avionics on after startup. All right, so we're ready for a clear. Everything else looks good. Get ready to start. And here we go. Throttle set for about 1,000. Going to run the stick back and give her a go. All right, everything else is set. Clear. All right. Oil pressure's coming up in the green. Oil temperature is what it is. And once we get in the run-up area, that will come up. So now we'll go nav on, avionics on. You can see the avionics starting to come on there. We're going to go to 126.5 for ATIS. Okay, time for a run-up check, full check. We're going to do carb heat check. We're going to run it up to 1700, check the ignition, electronic ignition, and make sure it idles and runs at 1700. So here we go. Feet are on the brakes, 1700 RPMs. Stick back. All right, carb heat check. Should get a drop in RPM, and we do. Carb heat back in. We go to the ignition. We go 2 to the left. You can see that the right shows inactive. We go back to both. They're both good. We go 1 back. We show left is inactive. We go back to both. We're going to run the emergency battery. So right now, for the moment, we're running on the emergency battery. You want to make sure everything's running on the emergency battery. Turn that off. Make sure you get the left. Go back to both. Do 1 more carb heat check. And then come back to an idle check. She idles below 1,000. And that should be pretty good. All right, so come back up to about 1,100. So run-up is complete. We're on ground. That's the tower. When we make our way to Chandler, then we're going to be on 128. In fact, yeah, 128.32 for ATIS and 126.1 for tower. So I'll set those in the air. Put that paper right there for now so that it's on navigate. Because what I'm going to do, it's hard to see this, I'm going to come through this airspace down here to Chandler. We're going to head down to Camelback Mountain. So we'll taxi up. We're on what they call ramp 6. When I get up here, I'll tell them I'm at ramp 6 with Lima, which was the ATIS, and that I'm going to be southbound today, okay? And that run-up is complete, and that I'd like a Charlie 10 departure, which is pretty silly. It's at the end of the runway going the wrong way. But that's what I'm going to request. A lot of time they give it, sometimes they don't. We shall see. This is the police helicopters over here. Phoenix police helicopters. Pretty cool. So we'll come over here, kind of get out of the way a little bit. And we'll call them, saying we're at ramp 6 with Lima. We'll call sign Cub 130 Lima at ramp 6 with Lima. Run up complete. We'll be southbound today. We are holding short. Charlie 10, and it is about 8:40. So about 17 minutes. That's normal, 17 to 20 minutes. 30 Lima, fly straight out. All right, feet off the brakes. Here we go. And check this out. They gave me a crew car, a Mercury Grand Marquis. It's like a Crown Vic, only not the police version. 129,000 easy miles, I am sure. So very cool. I'm going to go to Aircraft Spruce, pick up the brake fluid and the radio. Check out the crew car, Mercury Grand Marquis. That baby has seen a little road work. Look at that bad dog. They let me use it. We're at Aircraft Spruce. Let's go check it out. Get into will call. It is 9:22. We are back at the airport. We're back at Chandler. It is 9:32, so we'll get back in there, take a whiz, go out, pre-flight the airplane, and get out of here. Hopefully by 9:45, 9:50. We're back at the airport. Walking back, we got our package. There's the Hangar Cafe. I'll show you that. That's over there. Chandler Aviation, Hangar Cafe. I have to come back here for a breakfast one morning. Pretty cool place. If I'm unfamiliar here, so I'm going to have to figure out the taxi. We'll figure it out though. Clear. All right, we got taxi. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the radio. We got oil pressure coming up, oil temp. Not as high as when we first started because it is at operating, well, not operating, but it's about 170 degrees. And that's that. All right, I'm going to go shut off and we'll get ATIS and get ourselves positioned for takeoff, hopefully before 10. Keep it rolling. Feet off the brakes. Here we go. Go-kart track. Well, not quite. Inside of the go-kart track, rather. Awesome flight, man. Glad I did it. Get Avionics Master off. That's just avionics. And Mixture, Master, and Mags. Nav and strobe and mags. Key up on the dash. We are good to go. It's like 115 today, tomorrow, and Sunday. It's huge, and you're talking the end of September, almost October 1st, still 110. I can't believe on a 115 degree day, 112, that we're landing at 10:30. So I'll call the fuel truck. I can't believe also we planned this out this morning since 5 a.m. kind of projecting what would take what, how long with all the transition times, and here we are at the hangar putting the plane away at 10:30, 5 minutes past that. Maybe we have it fueled and basically pulling away from the airport close to 11. So that's it. Cool flight. Got to get more of these in, you know? All right, so now we landed, shut everything off. I usually shut down right over there. And then I use the tow bar, bring it back in, Try to get the wheels fairly aligned. So then we can pull it back in the hangar safely. And I called the fuel truck, Cutter Aviation. Gas is $7.28, $7.28 right now. I don't know what we'll take. I'm guessing 6, 7, 8 gallons. I'm going to look at the gauges, the fish tube gauges here in a minute. So that was it. Shut it down, pulled it back, called the Cutter Aviation. I have all this stuff out of the way already for pulling it back. Just kind of look it over after landing, right? Same as a pre-flight, like a post-flight walk around. I'll get the headset out of here, get all my stuff out of the back, you know, just kind of undress what I dressed up and get ready to fuel it up, push it back in, tuck it away, put it away. Take that ladder and I'll put it right here kind of over this wheel. It's hard to fuel, it's hard to see because it's backwards. It kind of took a little while to half-ass figure that out. Let's see what the gauges are showing. That one's showing in a 3-point attitude, about a half-ish. And I was running the, I wasn't being stingy on the throttle. I was trying to do some good break-in stuff, 2,500, 2,600. This thing was indicating 115 to 120 even. And then on the ground, I think at one point we got up to 100, 130, 140, something like that. It was pretty good for this airplane. So that's that. Yeah, they're about half and half, a little more than half and half. Yeah, spent a little time. But anyway, yeah, 4 hours from show up to leave. And that's with a Chandler flight in between and all that crew car shit and everything else. All right, we're at the gate. Come on, you fucker. About 112, 115 today. Nice and warm.